Hey, how's it going? Jared here. Today I want to talk to you guys about a Wi-Fi solution for your RV that's around $100. I want to start off saying that I don't think that this system is for everybody, but for the price point around $100, I mean, I have to share it with you guys. So it is a little bit more on the technical aspect. It's not like a plug and play, very simple. I hope to do some reviews in the future of systems like that, but for the price point, you have to take a look at this and consider it. So it's a two-part system, and the first part is the Nano Station by Ubiquiti M2, the Nano Station M2. And it's a great little radio. It's a great little antenna, basically, that's gonna reach out and get that Wi-Fi signal at these parks, at these public locations where you may not be able to get it with just your normal devices. So this gets mounted outside your rig, and then on the inside of your rig that all your devices are gonna connect to is gonna be any access point that you choose. I had a TP-Link access point already, and for the price, again, the links in the description if you're interested in these. This has been a great one for us. I know Ubiquiti's makes one that goes along with the system, so it works well together. But let's go ahead and dive into it, because there is a little bit more setup than your traditional just put an antenna on the RV and just go. This is a directional antenna, and there is some setup required on your computer. So let's go ahead and head over to the computer and dive right into it. For me, it is way more simple when setting this equipment up to first, before I go and put it on a mast or put it outside and mount it where I want it, it's much easier where I can sit down at my computer and have the devices right there where I can just go ahead and set them up so that when I install them and physically put them where I want them to stay, everything's already set up, and the process is much more simple. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the Nano Station and its components. We're gonna slide off the cover and plug in a Cat 5 into the main connection there, and that same wire is gonna go into the PoE. And in the LAN slot, we're gonna connect that directly to the computer. Let's connect the PoE and plug that into power. And at this time, we want to go ahead and turn off our Wi-Fi on our computer. On a Windows computer, we want to go to Control Panel, Network and Internet, and then the Network and Sharing Center. And from there, we want to go ahead and go to Change and Adjust Settings. Here, you can go ahead, if you haven't already, and disable your Wi-Fi, and then we want to select the Ethernet. And in the Ethernet, we want to go to this setting here and hit Properties. In the Properties, we're going to enter this specific IP address. Set the fixed IP address to 192.168.1.1.0. The subnet mask will pop up to 255.255.255.0. The gateway to 192.168.1.1. And lastly, the DNS to 192.168.1.1. From there, you want to go ahead and click OK to save those settings. If you are a Mac user, you want to go to System Preferences, Network, Ethernet, change your configure IP to manually, and you're going to want to put in that same information. I'll put a link in the description so that it's easier to remember. Now we want to bring up a web browser so that we can log into the device. And the IP address is 192.168.2.1 in the address bar. And that's going to bring us to this where it gives us a warning, but at this time you're not connected to the internet. So it's okay to allow it to proceed. You're just logging into the firmware of the NanoStation. Go ahead and put your user ID and your password, and that will bring you to the firmware of the unit. Now the tab that you want to select to change the settings so all this works is the network tab. You want to go through each of these settings and make sure they match what you see on here, from network role to configuration mode, WAN network settings, LAN network settings, DHCP address reservation, which I don't think you have much to change here, port forwarding, I don't think you have anything to change there, and multicast routing settings, I don't think you have anything to change there. Then you want to hit change and apply to save those settings. Next, go to the System tab, and you can check to make sure that these settings on this page match what is on your firmware. Once you are done, you can click the change, and at the top, you're going to click apply again. Once those are all saved, we can go ahead and disconnect the NanoStation, and we are going to move to working on our access point. Connect your access point from the main to the Ethernet on your computer. Now you want to log into the firmware of your access point, type in your username and password, and it'll bring you to the firmware of the access point. Now this one gives you a quick setup. You want to create the access point there, and then you're going to call it what you want and create a wireless password. Now this is what all your devices are going to connect to be able to get to the internet. At this point, we can go ahead and assemble all of our pieces together to make the system work. So we're going to put the access point on the inside of the trailer, and I like to just kind of hide it behind the TV, but we're going to connect an Ethernet cable to the back of it. It's best if you use a shielded Ethernet cable, and that cable is going to go to the PoE device, which is the power over Ethernet, but we're going to connect it into the LAN port. Now the PoE port is now going to be connected to the NanoStation, and the NanoStation is going to be mounted outside wherever you see fit. I know some people will put them on TV antennas so that you can rotate them. I just have mine on a mast, and I'm able to turn and rotate it to get the best signal. But you're going to want to make those connections and get back to your computer so you can lock on to an access point. Log back into the NanoStation using your username and password. But this time we're going to go to the wireless tab. And in the wireless tab, you want to select an SSD. So hit select, and it will scan for any wireless signals, Wi-Fi signals that are around you. And once you see the Wi-Fi signal that you want to connect to, select it, and then click Lock to AP. Once you've locked onto the access point, you want to make sure you put in the proper password key to be able to log on, and then select Change and Apply to save those settings. At this point, I like to go ahead and test what the speed of my internet is, and I can always adjust the antenna if I need to. The range that we have received on this antenna, we haven't gone much over a half mile, but that was a half mile through forest. Usually this is a line of sight type of system, and we have been impressed, and it has worked well. Once you are locked into that access point, you're gonna be able to just forget it and be able to connect directly into your access point. So I think it's a great solution at a good price point, and hope you enjoyed this, hope it helps you out, and we will catch you next time.